Yo, Liverpool entertained Aston Villa earlier today and produced a convincing performance, winning by 3 goals to 0. A fantastic strike from Dominic Szoboszlai, a Matty Cash own goal, and a well-deserved goal from Mohamed Salah meant that Liverpool go into the international break with 10 points from a possible 12 after navigating some very difficult fixtures. A few surprises with the team selection today, especially in midfield. Alexis McAllister played in a deeper position and was flanked by Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones. Darwin Núñez was preferred to Cody Gakpo in the centre forward position after his late brace against Newcastle last week. But other than that, everything was pretty much as expected. When I saw the lineup, I thought there was a chance there would be a slight tweak to the formation, possibly with McAllister and Jones playing in a double pivot in midfield, which would allow Szoboszlai to play in that number 10 position. My reasoning was that Darwin Núñez struggles when dropping into that space in front of the midfield and behind the forwards, and that would allow Szoboszlai to operate in that position, and that would mean that Núñez can then play on the shoulder of the Aston Villa central defenders. Also, Gravenberch might be best suited to play alongside McAllister in a midfield too, but after watching that performance today, you would think that Ryan Gravenberch is likely going to replace Curtis Jones in this ever-selected 4-3-3 formation. I don't like speaking about the goals in a lot of detail or going through the performances of each individual player and assigning them an arbitrary number based on my perception of their performance. I prefer to speak about the team as a whole and about some specific talking points from the game. So what did we learn from today's performance? The most obvious thing for me was the intensity of the press and the level of aggression from the midfield players in particular. It was like watching Henderson, Fabinho and Wijnaldum when they were at their best. Today's performance offered support to the notion that our previous midfield had lost its legs. I still have some reservations about the lack of defensive awareness in the midfield, and I do think that if we don't have a strong season, we might regret not signing a top-class holding midfield player. Hopefully though, that is something that Ryan Gravenberch can bring to this midfield. In my last video, I was very critical of Trent AlexanderArnold, and rightly so, but he was the best player on the pitch today. He genuinely seems unaffected by mistakes, poor performances or criticism. He clearly has a very strong mentality. It was unlocking defences with passes from inside his own half today. Trent can create a chance with one pass that would take other teams 2 to 3 passes just to get into that same position. A superb performance from Trent. Alisson Becker. I really should have mentioned him in last week's video. Sometimes I'm guilty of taking his brilliance for granted. He didn't have a lot to do today, but he made one great save from a Matty Cash header. His positioning, his handling, just everything about him is world class. He's undoubtedly the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. I don't watch other European leagues week in, week out, so I would feel like an armchair football fan to claim that he's the best goalkeeper in the world. But what I wouldn't swap him for is any other goalkeeper on the planet. Very much a makeshift defence today with Joel Matip and Joe Gomez at the heart of it, and they were both excellent. If these are your two backup central defenders, then you've got to be pleased with their performances. Matip's passing started a lot of attacks and Gomez positionally was faultless. They've come in for a lot of criticism recently, but they are two very good players. Their respective performances today will do their confidence a world of good, and this is the partnership I would expect to see, at least in the group stages of the Europa League. So again, hopefully that competition will allow them to stay match sharp and work towards building those confidence levels. The front three terrorised the Villa backline today. Diaz was probably the least convincing of the three for me. He tends to take too many touches and runs himself into trouble a lot, but we know what he's capable of and was by no means a bad performance. Núñez, as always, caused chaos, but his finishing, his decision making, his lack of awareness in those half spaces, he did struggle with. After last week, I'm prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he was a tad unfortunate not to get on the score sheet today. His speed, power and direct running make him an absolute nightmare to play against. The goals are coming. Lastly, Mohamed Salah. Brilliant. 2 goals and 2 assists of the highest quality in 4 games. And if Núñez had his shooting boots on today and he was a bit more decisive, Salah could have had another goal and 2 assists. Salah is a killer, And even when he's not playing well, he can win you a game by himself. Let's hope the Saudis give up until next summer and let us enjoy this man for at least one more season. That's all from me. Please let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section. Thank you for watching, as always. And if you somehow happen to come across this video, then please do give it a like. I plan to record and upload my first non-Liverpool specific football video during next week's international break. So if that's something you'd be interested in, then please consider subscribing. Cheers.